Hey everyone, it's Deri here, helping you build a life of no regrets and build a business or a career of no regrets. So let's get straight into it. So this whole subject of no regrets, for those who watched the TEDx, you'll see that what triggered me was my father's death. So on the deathbed of my father, seeing my father go out with a load of regrets, that's where I was like, I am not going out that same way. Now, I didn't have any resource material at that point to like we're doing here for you today, of what the hell does that even look like? Because I didn't know. So I had to go learn. I had to go research. I spent a lot of time in personal development, spirituality, exploring so many different things. Adventure was a big one for me. I think adventure really has taught me so much about life and spirituality and the depths of my nature. That's why I really delved into the depths of my soul. Running 6 marathons across the Sahara Desert, you find yourself in the middle of that desert, as I found myself on mountains. So I have kind of been a little bit extreme, but you don't panic, you don't need to do it that way. But that was my calling, but I had to go deep to find that. So this work you've got to do in this series, this is not easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? This is work. We've got to really think. This is your life's purpose here. This is your existence. And I come from the angle of regret because I think sometimes it's easier to come from that one. Sometimes we can kind of put this wishy-washy stuff on a wall of aspirations, which is lovely, by the way. But I find a lot of people are chasing certain goals and actually they're missing the point. And if they then died and they hadn't got that goal, that doesn't matter because they missed all this stuff over here. So I knew what it meant to me, and over a decade now of exploring and personal discovery, I really understand myself and what regrets means for me. Hence accumulating on Everest last year, where I could really look back and go, do you know what, if I had gone out and I was very close to going out with a massive earthquake on Everest last year, I could do so with no regrets, knowing that I'd actually done everything I wanted to do in this life to that point. I have still got a load to go. I think I'm going to 106, so we've got plenty to do here, right? But up until that point, no regrets. And that was a profound moment for me, and I want that profound moment for you. So what I did is I instigated a research study. So we took 20 studies from around the world. Now this ranged from Forbes to the top regrets of the dying. We took regrets of females and males. There were subtle differences in that. And we crashed all of that research together to really pull out the strands of what are the top regrets in life for people. So then we could shortcut that. Now when I say shortcut that, we'll see what I found is, by the way, myself included here, a lot of people really step up in life. They really kind of go for their dreams and grab life by the balls fully when something catastrophic's happened. Now for me it was the death of my father. So many audiences I think that's resonated with, because people are only, if you've lost a loved one, if you've lost someone dear to you, if you've lost a parent, if you've lost a sibling, that's a really wake up moment of this life we've got here is precious, it's short, and we're here to live it. And so many people grab that. Grab life then, or they grab life when they've had a health scare or something shit's happened to them. And yet most of the people I know who actually have really stepped up, they had something really majorly shit happen to them for them to step up. And I'm good with that because it worked for me, all right? But also I want to try to shortcut that and say, for all of you out there, something shit doesn't have to happen. Let's just step up and decide now. And that's what I want this series to be for you. I'm going to show you the top 6 regrets. Choose one. I've got to work on it. And don't wait for catastrophe to happen for you to do so. Okay, I'm really going to take you on deep, and I'm going to ask you some penetrative questions over the next series of videos. So let's play full out, okay? Now, so out of this research came 6. There was a really top 6 that threads were coming out of all the time. So let me share what the 6 were so you can start to think in your life right now. So remember, the big question, which I always lead with, is if you went out today and it was all over, under a bus, it's all over, you meet the maker above, what is it you wish you'd have done? And if so, then what are you going to do today, just in case it does happen? This is about living to the moment. This is really living in the moment, but also living in the day, in the week, in the month, in the year, living life fully on your terms. So let's talk you through the 6 regrets. I'm going to give you the overview. You will start to resonate with a couple of them straight away, I'm sure. And then we're going to take each of the videos from this, is going to take each one deeper. All right, so here are the 6. And this is in order, by the way. So we're going to come back up to the number 1. It's like top of the pops, it's the charts. So number 6, well, actually there was I want to just touch on one that came out below it. It came in at around 7 or 8, which surprised me actually, which was health. So we're not going to address health in this series, but for some reason it was always there, but it was always much lower down, which is a bit weird to me because health is super important to me. So I just want to address that one before we get into the top 6. So for me, health is right up at the top, because if I haven't got my health, if I haven't got my endurance, I haven't got life. But I think a lot of other people, when you see the other regrets, I think there's much bigger regrets which are underpinning all of this. But I would not ignore health if I was you. So let's come in then. Taking health out, we're into regret number 6. So regret number 6 came in, and it was one of my favorites, by the way. It always came out as traveling more, or adventure, or cool times. So people always, they'd wish they'd traveled more, they wish they'd taken more trips, they wish they'd gone and seen what they wanted to see in the world. It came up as travel a lot more than adventure. For me, it's adventure, and I just happen to hook it up with cool things. And I think as you sort of go down the generation, it's becoming a lot more adventurous and a lot more wanting to see the top things in the world, as well as experience. It's moving more towards experiences as we move down the generation. So that's number 6. Number 5, not spending a life true to yourself. That's big. And that went into a lot of different genres. But it was living a life for somebody else, living a life, I think we've got this deep calling in us, which is our calling, right? It's our lives. For me, it was adventure. Now, nobody around me agrees with my adventure stuff. My family doesn't support me on my adventure stuff. They never have. So I could have just listened to everyone else around me. But it's finding that life true to yourself, whatever that may be. That's quite profound. And the question is then, what does a life true to you really mean? That's a big one, all right? So number 4, not getting that education. Now this came out as university degrees in a couple of studies, i.e. wishing they'd got that degree, wishing they'd got that education. But it came out in so many other stories of wish I'd learnt X, wish I'd changed, a tack, or I wanted to learn how to draw, or how to, craft, or I wanted to do stuff. It's just learning. It was that constant learning and evolution, and the older one got, the more this came out, is wishing they'd learned something, or wishing they'd studied something that they were fascinating in. And with the access we've got these days to resources, you can do anything you want anywhere in the world right now. It's incredible. So we're in an age where that shouldn't be an excuse anymore. You just got to get up and do it. So if there's something you'd wish you'd learned, is there something you'd wish you'd studied, go do it. Number 3, not spending more time with friends and family. That was an obvious one, but really, how many of us are doing it? Let's be true to ourselves on this one. How many of you are really spending the time you should with your friends and your family? Now, this is a big one in regards to career and business, i.e. you need to craft your career and your business to ensure you can spend your time with your friends and your family. For me, it's a big one, and I've been able to architect my businesses around this. I'm a single dad to 3 beautiful girls, and I spend half the time I've architected my businesses, so half the time I'm with my children, and I'm a single dad in that time. That's super important to me, because I chose that. I knew that if I'd become the weekend dad or whatever, that I would have regretted that later in life. And I'm all about no regrets. And so I'm going to say some of these decisions are not the easy decisions to make. But for me, my time with my family and my time with my friends, super important to me. But I have to make the time for it. I have to architect my life around that. Okay? Now, number 2, not fully owning your path. Now, that means in career and business. This came out top. There was a big, remember we spend, I think, just did a study recently over in the business side. I do a lot of work in the strategy side. 90,000 hours we spend at work. Oh, 90,000 hours. Now, you go and think of that one through, and being in a career that you don't really like, or you wish you'd done something else in, that's a big ass regret. 90,000 hours worth of regret. That's a big part of your life, all right? So this came out strong, and it came out in different guises. In the subsequent videos, we're going to take each of these deeper, all right? But this whole, are you in the right job? Do you want to change career? Do you want to start a business? Do you want to be an entrepreneur? By the way, it's not all about that. I'm big in the business side and entrepreneurial side, okay? But I don't advocate it for everyone. It's not the journey for everyone. But you can choose your job, whatever you are, you've got a choice around your career, which means you might want to study, by the way. You start to see how these regrets start linking together. But spending the amount of time we do in work and career, oh boy, do you need to get that one right, all right? And then, number 1, by the way, this was consistently number 1. A number of the others we were adjusting things as we were pulling out the threads, but this was always number 1. And the number 1 was having not loved fully. That's profound. You know, that was consistent number one. I think certainly in the age we're living at the moment, this relationship thing is a big issue. Now, this was love. This is your intimate love. This was your partner. You know, whether this came as a wishing that you'd ask somebody and never did, staying with somebody that you shouldn't have stayed with, not working on the relationship, being complacent. This came out in so many different guises, but it was the number one, and it was always the number one. And I resonate with that myself personally, as I can see around myself in business and life. So many of us are smashing it in business and doing really well and completely screwing our relationships up. Some of us are doing amazingly in health and maybe, you know, traveling the world, but then screwing our relationships up. So there's a balance between all of these 6, all right? So that's the 6. Now, hopefully you're already starting to take something out of this. What I want you to do is think about those 6. There's going to be a download below so you can start to see and start to take notes on this. Which one's really hitting you hard right now? Don't try to go and work on all 6 at the same time, right? You're going to freak yourself out. But which one is the one that, do you know what? I want to work on that one right now. I've got to do something about, you know, loving more, or I've got to do more about my career path. Get some time, spend some time, think about what you want to do. Spend more time with your loved ones. Go and get that education. There's so many options here for you. Start to do the work. Start to do the thinking. Now in the next 6 videos, I'm going to take each one of these and I'm going to take it deeper for you. So you're going to resonate with the different ones, and also I'm going to do a little bit more specificity around what we learned in the studies. So we're going to literally take them apart and tell you the different themes that were coming out of the studies, so you're going to get more and more specific about what you can do and the actions you can take in each of these areas. So until the next video, live a life of no regrets and go do work.